Caleb Williams, a generational talent playing for the Chicago Bears, will be the light that brings them to the promised land. We've heard much about the USC quarterback dating back to college. After hearing how his leadership is already felt, his brief appearances in the preseason, and the GOAT mentoring him, it's safe to say he has a great career ahead of him. But the real comp Caleb Williams should be getting is the soon-to-be GOAT in Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes. Mal, I'll start with you since you speak very highly of Caleb Williams and the Bears. After watching Caleb Williams play snaps in the preseason, do we see him turning out as electrifying and dominant as Patrick Mahomes? And will it be very soon?
So the media coverage surrounding Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears, it could be considered fascinating if you're evaluating the situation on a base level. But if you really analyze who Caleb Williams is, who and what the Chicago Bears are, and what they have done, then the coverage has been relatively standard. Typical conversation for the 2024 NFL season are centered around, can the Bears make the playoffs? Can he win 10 games? Will Caleb Williams win Rookie of the Year? Can he have the greatest season statistically from a Bears quarterback? These are all fundamental questions if you're living in the realm of logic and objectivity. Traditionally, a team like the current Chicago Bears are not granted the number one overall pick. In 2023, they finished the season with a record of 7-10. Mind you, they started the season 0-4. They were in the hunt for a majority of the season to make the playoffs. So you might be wondering, Mal, how were they able to even obtain the number one overall pick? Well, in March of 2023, the Carolina Panthers traded their 2024 first round draft pick to the Bears. They moved up from spot 9 to the first overall pick in 2023. Meanwhile, the Panthers finished the last season with a record of 2-15, which was the worst record in the NFL. That is how the Bears were able to select Caleb Williams with the number one overall pick. The Bears took notice of how well their team performed last year, added key elements of talent with stars such as Keenan Allen and drafted Rome Odunze. And now with your quarterback, you have all the requisite pieces to make a push to the playoffs. It really isn't rocket science. Just observing the reception of NFL personalities on these media platforms, that is literally all that has been stated. And for any other quarterback drafted with the number one overall pick to his team, this would be the topic of discussion. Could this team make the playoffs? You know, people are being disingenuous and inconsistent with their commentary, and they're doing one thing that really infuriates me. They're not standing behind or showcasing confidence in a narrative that they really want to project. I have two questions for the audience that has a pessimistic outlook on Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. One, taking away the quarterback position, if you look at the remaining 51 players on this roster, is this a playoff caliber team? And two, how good do you think Caleb Williams is right now? Because if you think this roster is playoff caliber and you think Caleb Williams is bare minimum on the level of a starter, then why can't this team make the playoffs? Why is the expectation too high for them to be a good team? Just say that you don't think that he's that guy and give us a reasonable explanation as to why. If you can't, then respectfully, sit down on your couch, continue to eat those potatoes, continue to drink those highly carbonated sodas or beer, turn on your TV, witness that greatness, and quietly in disgust with great admiration, watch Caleb Williams take off with the Chicago Bears. He was the number one overall pick. High expectations come with the territory of being drafted first, especially with the draft riddled with quarterbacks. The first three selections were quarterbacks in the 2024 draft. A record 6 quarterbacks were taken in the first round. That's tying a record set in 1983. Greatness comes with high expectations. Unless you guys believe that Caleb Williams is a bust or he's going to struggle tremendously. And if he does with all of this talent that is surrounding him, then it would be starting his career off on the wrong foot in the worst position, that being a disappointment. Respectfully, you couldn't ask for a better situation than the current environment he has been inserted in from a generational talent that was taken with the number one overall pick. All in all, I think that they're going to do relatively well. They're going to be in the hunt for the majority of the season to be in the playoffs, and they will make the playoffs. And if you guys stay tuned for a video that we'll have before the season starts, you'll see exactly where I have them being at the end of the season.
I think that Caleb Williams, his career is definitely promising. Just looking off of week 2's performance against the Cincinnati Bengals, I felt like he played a really, really good, solid outing. You know, there was a lot of issues, especially earlier in the game with the first 3 drives. They went 3 and out. No first downs on the first 3 drives. And Caleb Williams did have like a bad early game, in my opinion. The throws weren't on time, and he was kind of missing throws on those earlier drives in the game. And, you know, it kind of brought up a couple of flaws that I had on my scouting board, which led me to having him as the second best quarterback in this draft. And honestly, I think it's really close between him and Jaden Daniels. Both of those guys are really good talents. And many people forget that this is a really good quarterback class compared to previous years. Last year was pretty solid. When you go back to years before, it really isn't anything too crazy. So looking at this draft, he definitely has some great comp with his contemporaries. So I think that sky's the limit for him. But I am not a fan of how the media and how social media has kind of overreacted to his accomplishments. He had one throw where he escaped from the pocket, rolled out to the left, avoiding the sack, and threw it on the run. And the media kind of went through a blaze to it. And I thought it was just kind of a good throw. I didn't think it was unique. People made it seem like only two quarterbacks can make that throw. And when I'm looking at it, I seen Bryce Young make that throw. And for people not to prop that up, I think that's crazy media agenda. And of course, they're trying to hype him up because he's the next Patrick Mahomes, which I kind of understand that. Now, do I think he's Patrick Mahomes material? No, I don't really think so. I think he plays more like, honestly, Kyler Murray. Am I saying he's going to be as good as Kyler Murray or as bad as Kyler Murray? No, but I think that's more of his comp, in my opinion, Kyler Murray than the Patrick Mahomes. He has to fasten out a lot of things in this game, which he probably can do. He has the talent, he has the tools. The deep ball is definitely there. For people to have him on the GOAT trajectory already is kind of puzzling to my head. I don't really see where the trajectory is starting at. The Chicago Bears have a very, very promising offense this year. It should be high octane. They have all these weapons to surround Caleb Williams. They got Keenan Allen, Roman Doomsday, DJ Moore. So you got weapons. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has a CJ Stroud type year that CJ Stroud had last year, where he had one of the greatest rookie seasons of all time. Because in my opinion, Caleb Williams is probably the most polarizing prospect since probably Andrew Luck. And that was about 15 years ago. So I would say he's generational in that aspect. I think Caleb Williams will be a great quarterback at the end of his career. Now, do I think he'll be, top 10? Maybe not. I think he can put up a lot of good numbers. I think he kind of reminds me of Aaron Rodgers in the sense where I can see him down the line in his future, him just winning one championship, but having multiple MVPs, having 2 or 3 MVPs. I can see that happening, honestly. And that's not doing a disservice to him or anything. That's why I am in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. And then also I want to bring up Justin Fields. People were kind of bashing him on social media on how he played in Chicago, which I didn't think he played bad. I thought his offensive line was definitely worse than what Caleb Williams has been blessed with this season. But certain aspects of him not looking down the field, him still trying to find out how to read a defense. I think it was kind of a blessing and a curse that when he played those years in Ohio State, he had Jackson Smith and Jigma and Chris Olave. He had all these great receivers. He can give the ball to those guys, which he is a great athlete. Other than that, I feel like the disrespect towards Justin Fields has definitely been unwarranted. He's a great athlete. He's still trying to become a serviceable quarterback. I think he'll get there once he just figures out the playbook. Caleb Williams is definitely promising, and I will look forward to seeing him in the future. I still think Drake May is a better prospect, though.
Once again, I'm sorry that y'all had to hear this. This man said Drake May is the best quarterback coming out of that draft. I believe the Bears will make noise this season. I completely believe Williams can and will possibly set that record for most passing yards in the franchise, which is sad to say that nobody's ever thrown for 4,000 yards in that franchise. It's putrid. But this team, they have the offense and the defensive pieces. I believe that they will make it to the wild card. I wouldn't be surprised if they make noise in the playoffs. Now, yes, before I did say that I wasn't even sure if they would slip in the playoffs. But after watching Williams and the team, I definitely believe they can, and they could possibly take advantage of it. I can see this team dominate like Mahomes and the Chiefs. Now, their only problem would be the stacked 49ers and possibly Jordan Love and the Packers. And, the standout declares, it'll be declared based off of quarterback play. Already, yes, I 100% believe Caleb Williams will outplay Brock Purdy. The competition will be more so Jordan Love, same as, Joe Burrow. Really the only competition for Kansas City when it comes to who has the best chance to beat them. I have high hopes for this Bears team. I think Caleb Williams can help get his team out of a rough patch. He can make this team, not just be known for their defense. The only thing so far I can see hurting Caleb Williams' career is how high the expectations are, because it's as if he doesn't hit, Brady status with all the accolades and everything, or like Caleb said, he hits Rodgers status, win one ring and then a bunch of MVPs, he's going to be bashed. which is going to hurt his career, even though it's still a Hall of Fame career. But, this just comes with the territory of being named a generational talent.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that last point, Jalen, I completely agree with what both of you guys said. But at the end of the day, is it unfortunate if Caleb Williams doesn't live up to the expectation of a Brady, of a Mahomes? Yes, it may be, even if he's still a great quarterback. I think that him being on the level of an Aaron Rodgers based off of the hype, it would be relatively a disappointment in a lot of people's eyes. But as you said, that comes with the territory. If you want to be placed in those conversations, especially this early on, as to be on a GOAT trajectory, because I think that Caleb Williams probably has those type of standards for himself, that he wants to be the best that ever was. If you want to be held in that regard, then high expectations are going to come with it. Is that fair? I would say yes, if this is the expectation, if that's the milestone that you want to achieve. And I think that with this current situation, he should be able to get off to a great start with the team around him. So we'll see.